Hello, hello.
Howdy.
We are back for episode 16.
Wow.
Oh, I'm Selene Castrovilla.
I'm Pascale.
And this is a Life and Jest podcast, which we rarely say, but
Now with video.
our second video.
Still not happy about it.
I wonder if I can airbrush this.
Really?
Well, I was able to, I have an airbrush app.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And I was able to airbrush a video once from my phone.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if I can run this through that.
Hook us up.
I don't know. We'll just have to live with ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had a mini segment that, okay, I'm just going to be frank. I get ideas from various sources, but I was listening to this podcast, So Supernatural, and they were talking about these crystal skulls, and they made it sound like there was a possibility that they could be real. The whole idea of that podcast is like everything sort of supernatural, this and that. But they really pushed the envelope too far on this, because when I read an article about it, it's like, oh, yeah, they're all fake. And I'm like, damn, this is one of the crystal skulls. Oops.
Does anybody else think of Indiana Jones, that last Indiana Jones movie that sucked?
There you go. Look at this guy's face, what close up.
Oh.
They were testing them off as Aztec crystal skulls, but and they made it sound like it was totally possible. But it turns out one guy was like eating all these fakes. One guy. And they thought he was an expert. They were looking to him to authenticate things, but he was the one actually perpetrating this whole thing. But he didn't get arrested or anything. But then in the very end, it does say the British Museum's webpage detailing the crystal skull that came from Tiffany. They bought one from Tiffany and Company. The curator's notes include a wide range of hypotheses on where the object originally came from and how it was made. And it includes notes about modern tools. They think that modern tools were used. Okay. But they stopped short of calling it a fake. They're the only ones that won't come at it, probably because they spent so much money on it. You know,
Yeah.
These people spend so much money on these things, but it was all debunked. One woman had a story about how when she was a kid, her father was the guy, but she saw the skull, and so they lowered her down in the gun. It was such an elaborate story, and it was all a lie.
Wow. That's well, they got away with it for a while, I guess.
I guess. I mean, I just think it's sad.
It's like the crop circles. They proved that those are
they
fake.
did. I missed that.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they proved those were fake.
Really?
Well, we'll have to look that up.
That's interesting. Okay. All right. So that was that. And I think a good title for that would have been Skullduggery.
Skullduggery. I like it.
But since we didn't really do that segment, we'll save that for another time. But Pascale has a funny story. This is really good. Okay. She was telling me, and I'm like, let's do this. So we'll call this mini segment, what did we say? The sandwich scandal, right?
Sandwich scandal.
Okay. Take it away.
Let me start off by saying I find it funny now, but I did not find it funny when it happened.
That's usually what makes a good story.
Yeah, so I have this side job. So I worked the side job the other day, and it ran over by like an hour. I was hungry. I was tired. So I leave, I'm going home, and I'm like, you know what? I really feel like having an eggplant panini. I've been really craving eggplant. So I stop at this deli that's kind of by my house. So I go in there. I ask for the eggplant panini, and he's like, we don't have eggplant. I'm like, what the fuck? But whatever. I was disappointed, but I'm like, okay, so I'll just get my favorite sandwich. I got an everything bagel with Munster, lettuce, tomato, mayo. Easy, right?
You would think.
So I pay, it was like $6. Didn't think that was bad.
I thought that was incredibly cheap, but now we find out why.
So I go home. I start eating it. And I'm like, this kind of tastes like vinegar. Like, that's weird. I mean, it's not bad, but it's weird. So a few more bites, and I'm like, where the fuck is the cheese? So I look at the sandwich, and this guy made me a mustard, lettuce, tomato, and mayo sandwich. $6 for a condiment sandwich seems excessive to me.
Lettuce was tomato?
That's,
oh my God.
Lettuce, tomato, mayo, and mustard. If somebody asked you, or if you thought somebody asked you for this sandwich, would you not repeat it back because it's so weird?
Yeah. It was the end of the day, right?
It was the end of the day.
They get so
Really?
like
mustard,
they just don't care. They just like was interested.
a mustard and mayo sandwich?
Well,
Like, I'm not a poor kid in 1960.
well, McDonald's puts mustard on the hamburgers,
Yeah,
and they
but
may
there's nothing else.
wait. Oh,
there.
Whopper. No, that was idiotic. There's no question.
It's like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, what a dummy.
Wonder what he would have charged you for the mustard.
I'm like, $6
Well,
for
yeah, that was very
mustard
Oh,
and a
super.
bagel.
It's like Subway when you get the friggin' supposed like salad stuff. They say it's a veggie delight. It's just a few things that they throw on other things. It is not a veggie delight.
It's not.
It's ridiculous.
It's a salad sandwich.
It's not even a good salad
No.
sandwich. It's just lettuce.
Remember when they used to sell salads? It
No,
was
they-
basically the stuff that they had.
No, I went there. I went there with my son. I'm like, oh, salad, and then I was like, this is ridiculous, right? But I did it because what was I going to eat, right? And I went to my mother-in-law's, and she goes, I didn't know they had salad. I go, they don't.
They don't. And we both agree. There's something weird about that bread.
It really smells.
It
what do you
smells
guys agree?
odd.
It smells so gross in Subway.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? I think it's chemicals.
Yeah. That's why if I do go to Subway, which almost never happens, my job, that's the one thing that's there. Yeah, I get the wrap. For some reason, the wrap is okay.
Good idea, yeah.
But that bread,
It-
nasty.
Something's wrong. I think it's got to be preservatives.
Yes. And they have a veggie patty because we're both vegetarians, right? So they have this veggie patty. I have never tasted something more disgusting in my life.
Did you ever try the Dr. Freak?
Yeah.
Do you like those?
I do not like their veggie burgers,
Thing.
but they have these little vegetable, I don't know what you call it, like a tater tot. It's not a tater tot, but they're in different shapes, and those are good. But the veggie burgers
In
suck.
different shapes. It sounds like it's for children.
It is for children.
All right. No, those burgers, they're sitting in my refrigerator from like
No, that's so gross.
how long ago? 'Cause
No.
I won't eat. I tried it once. I'm like, I'm going to throw up or something.
No, veggie burgers, there's not many good ones.
I like the Impossible Burger, but it's been so long since I had meat, I couldn't.
Me too. I like it, but
But then like was it Trader Joe's that makes like a veggie one?
I don't know.
Do you like Indian? You like Indian food, right?
I like very limited Indian food.
Well, Trader Joe's makes a veggie burger with Indian stuff with it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd be.
I don't like it, but I thought you might like it.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I would have to look.
You
But
know what they have? Like, we're not actually vegetarians. We're pescatarians.
yes, this is a recent development for me.
Yeah, she was a full-on vegetarian.
Yes, and it was more for medical reason. But I have to tell you, I almost never eat fish.
Oh, really?
It's very
I eat
rare.
it all the time.
I eat it when I come over your house.
Trader Joe's has a shrimp burger. That's very good.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's really good. It's like
Yeah.
really big. It's like pieces of shrimp are in it. It's not
Yeah.
like some shredded thing. So I recommend that.
But I don't buy fish at all.
God, I eat salmon all the time.
Oh yeah,
I share it with my dog,
who's barking right now.
I'll turn the thing.
Let's see.
Uh-oh. There's so many wires here. Oh. It really is a lot of wires. Okay, hold on.
Okay, let's see, Bean.
Bean? Oh, yeah.
There. You got to get over more.
Yeah.
Bean, do you have something? Do you have something to tell us?
All right. What a fascinating entrance from Bean.
Well, that's who you hear barking.
Yeah. If you hear it, I don't know.
Yeah. So most veggie burgers.
Yeah, they do. But the Impossible Burgers are good. But I tell you, they're not really healthy either.
No, they're not.
Whatever.
But
Screw it, no matter what we do.
I also like Morningstar. I don't really love their burgers, but they have a fake chicken that I
I
like.
haven't tried that.
Yeah. Did you ever go to those places and you're like, I'm a vegetarian, and they just give you a steamed bunch of vegetables?
Yeah.
You're like,
Steam.
really?
No flavor whatsoever.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I doing with that? Like, I like vegetables, but really?
I know they don't have any creativity with it either.
No.
No. Oh, well. But anyway, I thought that was a fun story.
Yeah. So,
Tell her she has to write a Google review.
right? Because he was such a,
That's a great story. You have to.
like, how are you that?
And then he's going to write like a terse, probably apology.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know what he would.
I deserve an apology, and I deserve my $6 back.
That's bad. You know, you should have gone to that place. Did you ever hear of La Bottega?
Yes.
They-
I like that place. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's none near me. So, like, I'm very like that. If it's not near me, I'm never going.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very lazy like that.
I understand.
Yeah.
Guys, I'll be right back. I have to close the door because the dog came in. Entertainment.
That's interesting. What will we talk about? Places that I won't go? Things I won't do? I went with a friend to Kohl's the other day. I was like, who goes all the way to Kohl's? Like, it was too far. And I'm talking like one town over. That's how I am. Or if it's not on my way home, I will not go out of my way. Like today, on the way to Celine's house, I stopped at Trader Joe's because there is no Trader Joe's really close to me, but there's one really close to her. I'm like, I am not going out of my way for Trader Joe's, but I do need something.
1 block out of the way. I mean,
I know. I was like, oh my God.
I thought it was funny you only bought one item.
No, I bought 2 items.
2 items.
So one item, my daughter lives out of state. So I'm sending her a Christmas box. And she likes this one particular thing from Trader Joe's.
Oh.
And they don't have Trader Joe's by that.
That's cool. That's very nice.
So I stopped and bought that. And then I bought something for myself.
It did.
So.
Very good.
Yeah.
I don't think, whenever I run in there, I think I'm just going to buy like one thing and then I just buy a ton of stuff that I grabbed, you know?
Oh, no. I was like, there's so many people in here. I'm out.
Wow, I didn't think it would be that crowded there.
You know how I am. I go to the supermarket at 6 o'clock in the morning because I don't want to be around people.
Wow.
There's usually maybe 2 other people. Like sometimes there's this couple.
This one couple. Oh,
no, there's another couple too. There's 2 couples.
I don't ever notice the other people in the store. But I guess if you only have 1 or 2 couples.
Yeah. I get very annoyed by the whole.
I get annoyed by some of the checkout people because some of them.
I self-checkout because I've had it with those checkout people.
Oh, well, in Trader Joe's, you can't self-checkout.
No. Well, I never go to Trader Joe's because there's one. It's like 2 towns over, and God forbid I go 2 towns over.
That's bad.
Yeah. No.
I buy the salmon there. It's $9.99. I buy it with the skin on, and the dog eats the skin, and I share the fish with him. It's very, very happy.
Yeah, no, I'm super lazy.
Okay.
I don't know why I shared that, but whatever.
All right. So that's our sandwich scandal. And then some.
Fucking mustard and mayo. So weird.
So the question is, did you eat the whole thing?
No, I threw it away.
Well, you said it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't terrible, but I was like...
Were you full by the time you stopped eating it?
No. I ate something else.
Oh, God. See, that's where, if I spent the $6, I'm going to force it down.
No, we had this conversation before. Like, I recently went to the store with a friend, and this thing I wanted was 2 for whatever. And I'm like, I don't need 2. I'm not buying 2. And she was like, well, then I'll buy 1. And I'm like, do what you got to do. Like, I know I need 1.
Right.
And then you said you would do the same thing. You would buy the 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what is it?
But it was deodorant.
Oh, yeah. I have a stockpile of deodorant for the rest of my life. I did always, you know, that CVS always has buy one, get one, whatever, right?
I can get one.
Stockpile of deodorant. So I'm good for the rest of my life, I think.
No, I don't have room for that shit.
Ain't nobody got time for
I know. Like, this is, I'm the kind of person that will buy the small box of Q-tips.
Oh, no, it's too expensive.
Box. I don't know. I just buy what I need.
So you're not a fan of Costco?
No, it's too much.
Sometimes. It depends on what you buy.
I don't need all that.
I buy the big balsamic vinegar. Their balsamic vinegar is so much better than other balsamic vinegar. It's thicker. Try it, guys.
Oh,
so good.
I don't.
But I use it. It lasts. If it's something's going to last, it's not. I would never buy toilet paper from there because it's like, what is this? Like,
no, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So much.
But vinegar is reasonable. It's not going to go bad. And I make salad almost every day. So it depends. You have to pick what you like. All I know is I can notice all kinds of lines on my face. It's terrible. I'm not going to look.
I know. I feel like I look old as fuck.
We'll be. Is fuck really that old?
I don't know.
I don't know. All right. Well, I'm sorry. I promise I'll have a better mini segment stuff in the future. That skull thing, the skullduggery really sent me back. I thought it was going to be...
You didn't love my sandwich story?
I loved the sandwich story, and that qualifies as a mini segment.
By the way, I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. She does all the work, and I literally show up. I have no idea what we're going to talk about usually. Sometimes I ask. Sometimes I don't.
It's true.
I just show up.
All right. There's just a lot going on these days with everything.
No, you do a great job.
Aw,
it's like with the quotes. You have these meaningful, thoughtful quotes. And
Well,
mine are just
you pick
goofy.
Well, you like. I mean,
I do. I like goofy.
your quotes. So we are who we are.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's why we get along.
And we embrace each other for who we are. We don't try to change each other. No, I was annoyed that you liked the wrestling.
I did. I remember seeing wrestling at the Nassau Coliseum when I was a kid. Yeah.
Wow. No, well, you know my point is, I'm not going to say it again. You guys will hear it. You guys will have heard it. Anyway, but I would say our friendship thrives because we accept each other and don't try to change each other, you know? Okay, so I want to tell you guys about, it's shocking, and you're going to be shocked, but it's a true crime story.
We both love true crime.
Because also, okay, this one is like a real life Fargo. Think about Fargo, the movie.
We all know how amazing Fargo is.
Fargo is good, but it's so insane, right? Now think about if that really happened somewhere.
Yes. And the show also amazing.
Oh, I won't. I've had enough.
Oh, the first
I can't.
season was so.
Do you look at me and tell me I would like that?
I don't know.
It's a lot of bloodshed, right?
I feel like it was.
Then I just can't. That Fargo was very disturbing.
Well, the show you told me about based on
a true story.
A true story is
nowhere near like Fargo, because based on a true story, which is a show on Peacock, it has humor.
Yeah.
Okay. Where Fargo did not.
No,
Fargo is just like the thing that so many things disturb me about it, but this is a spoiler, but you should have seen Fargo already.
It's been that forever.
He kills the cop. Remember, the cop stops him. Okay, the two guys that kidnapped the wife, they're in the car. The cop stops him. He kills the cop. Then another car goes along and they see the cop, right? And so they turn around and they try to book away. But I guess they get so scared that they crash on the road. And the killer walks and just kills them. And all they did was just stumble in on this thing. They had nothing to do with anything. The horror of just like, all he cared about was whatever his purposes were. He had to kill them to get them out of the way. Their humanity did not matter to him one bit. And that is something I have such a hard time with. It's just so bad. And the whole movie is like that.
Well, I think what's interesting, or what makes us interested in true crime and things like that, is because you can't get in that headspace. It's so foreign.
I could get in that headspace.
Like a killer?
Oh, no. I just think about, how could he? Like, no, I can't.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's fascinating because you're like, how did that happen?
Yeah, but it happens so much. Like Fargo at least was, not real. Okay.
Boy, you would hate Quentin Tarantino movies.
I've seen them. I don't like them though. They're very violent.
Love them.
No, not for me.
So good.
Okay, what about that one where all of a sudden they turn into vampires like halfway through the fucking
movie?
That
was so silly.
That's ridiculous. You're changing genres completely.
Yes.
You can't do that.
Not one of his best.
George Clooney was in it.
Yes.
That I know. That was ridiculous.
Yes.
Okay. And I don't like that, even that Pulp Fiction. It's also very violent.
Oh, I love Pulp Fiction. Reservoir Dogs?
I didn't see that. I heard it was very violent. Yeah, I would see that. All right. Anyway, this is like a true life Fargo, which makes it worse because it actually happened. Okay. Okay. Now in Fargo, wasn't the guy didn't he own a car dealership or something?
I do not remember.
He worked there, at least he either owned it or worked there. The guy that the wife got kidnapped. Oh my God. Remember when she started screaming and then the guy just shot her?
I need to rewatch this movie.
Oh my God. It's so upsetting. And then one of them kills the other one.
I'm somehow okay with this stuff. It's molestation. I can't watch that.
But
But murdering, I have no problem
with. Okay, well.
I mean, real life murder, I have a problem with.
Okay, so this is called The Problem with Eric. And of course, I'm telling you much condensed. It's a true crime podcast from Texas Monthly. And I guess they do all things that happened in Texas, right? And I highly recommend it. And you really go like step by step into the process. And there's several people involved, the victims and several criminals. Eric's one of them, but there's several. And they're all very interesting in their own way. And so, of course, we don't have that much time. So if you're interested in this, listen to that podcast because there's so many details that are like, whoa, it's.
What is the name of the podcast?
It's called The Problem with Eric.
Oh, I thought that was the name of the episode.
No, it's the whole podcast.
Oh.
And I think there's, I don't know, 6, 7 episodes, probably 6. I don't know. Okay. It was also an episode of 2020, which somehow I missed. I'm going to have to watch that. Even though I know the story, it's always interesting to see pictures and stuff too. Okay. So this guy, Eric Mond, okay, he's your typical asinine car salesman. You know the type, right? Really brash and arrogant. And he inherited it, right? He was like the third generation. His grandfather started it, and the grandfather started with nothing and built this car dealership, and then the parents did it. So Eric just walked into, like, it was a very wealthy one. I mean, I don't know if I guess they all do well, but this one particularly did well. This is when you see those crazy car commercials, come down, da, da, da. That was them, okay? And his last name is Maund, M-A-U-N-D. So he's one of those spoiled guys because he was already rich. You know, he never had to really work. And he felt like he could just get whatever he wants, just pay the problem, get rid of it, right? So this really lovely family man, he did a lot of things. And one of the things he did was hire escorts. He didn't do it in the town, but whenever he traveled, he would have an escort every night he's away. Okay. And so he was in his 40s. This was in Austin, Texas, by the way. Austin, Texas is where his car dealership is, but the murders happened in Nashville. He met the escort in Nashville. And all this happened right as the pandemic was about to hit. So the world was closing down. Actually, it's really ironic because possibly none of this would have happened if the pandemic had already, this was a case when maybe it should have happened sooner. It's a really tragic, but the irony in it is so intense because if all these people hadn't come together with their own motives for things, it was a perfect storm to have these two people killed. And one of the people was kind of an ass too, but you still feel bad for him. I'll explain. One of them, the escort was completely, I mean, she did have sex with him, but she didn't do what they thought. And she was completely blindsided by this. Okay.
Wait, this happened in Nashville?
The murder was in Nashville. Murders.
Oh, because I was in Nashville maybe the week before everything shut down.
Oh, you were there probably when it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
That's weird.
It is weird. Yeah. Lucky you got back before everything shut down. It would have been a hard time getting a plane.
I know. I would have freaked out.
Oh, I went to LA in February, right before, and I saw some people wearing masks. I'm like, what's wrong with these people?
I know. I had no idea what anybody was talking about because I hadn't watched the news. I was at a conference for days.
Right.
I didn't pay attention to any. I had no idea things were going.
It's crazy, right? Yeah. Okay. So, he was preparing to visit his son in Nashville. He went to visit his son for a college visit. So, of course, you're going to hire some hookers while you're there.
Don't we all?
I think it should. So he messaged an escort who went by the name Layla Love. Okay. And he had met her at least once before on an earlier trip. Okay. So this is probably the second time. And he said, hey, darling. Well, we'll see who's darling later on. I was thinking Wednesday night around 9:30 at the JW Marriott. 90 minutes would be great, so we're not rushed. Like she doesn't want to be rushed, right? If all sounds good, let me know, and I'll text you Wednesday when I get to Nashville. Eric, okay? And he met her, and then the next night he had a different escort, and then he went back. He went back to the dealership, and the murders were yet to happen. But I don't think anybody really knew the pandemic was coming at this point. And then he got a text, okay? It was a blackmailer. He said, get me $25,000 or I'll tell your wife everything. Now, who sent the text? The person who sent the text is named Bill Lanway, and he's the boyfriend of Layla Love, in quotes. Her real name was Holly Williams. And Holly drew much of her income from working as an escort, even though she was an esthetician. Is that how you say it? Mm-hmm. But she really liked to go to, what are those things called? The music with the techno music, like they have festivals. Then you dance a lot. The techno.
Raves?
No, I think it's more of just a techno concerts, but like a festival of a lot of them. She liked to go to a lot of that.
What's it called? EDM?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
That's it. Yeah. So that kind of stuff, it's not conducive to working a 9-to-5 job. And she was pretty. She looked like one of the Kardashians, that type of look. She publicized on secure websites. They can pay and be secure. One's called Preferred 411 and one's called Slixa. I think this was. I think this is before OnlyFans, probably, because I could totally see her on that. She would have been so much safer on OnlyFans because a lot of times they don't really meet anybody. They just think, whatever. This is just another irony I feel really badly for her because it's just horrible. As for why Holly had chosen that work, a friend of hers said, I think a lot of it was that need to be told you're beautiful. Isn't that sad?
Isn't that usually what it's about?
Yeah. And the money was good too. Some guys who she called her whales would pay her $20,000 or $30,000 for a weekend.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
It is. Okay. So she and Bill both were broken people, and they started traveling to EDM shows and taking party drugs together. He'd call her Holly Ann or baby girl, and she'd call him Will or affectionately Punk, which I don't know how. Okay. Bill assured.
Is anybody else really bothered by baby girl? That annoys the fuck out of me.
She seemed to like it. Yeah, I don't like it at all. I hate that. But she liked it. Bill, she had the daddy thing, I guess, you know. Bill assured her that she was absolutely mesmerizing and texted her that he was proud of her for being a strong, independent woman and for facing all you have in life and still coming out on top, something she needed to hear. She responded, I'm glad you can see the good in me because I sure as hell can't, nor can my family. I keep making all the wrong decisions and repeating the same mistakes. I can't help but feel like a failure in life or like I'm being punished for not changing my lifestyle and the people I associate with. So these are messed up people.
That's kind of sad.
It's very sad. And they drew strength from each other's support and they revealed their scars. She had an estranged relationship with her mother, and he had a heart. This is really sad. He has two really sad things. He had a heartbreaking past he rarely told anyone about. His father had stabbed and killed his mother when he was a toddler, and he'd been raised by an aunt. And then in 2011, he'd lost his 5-year-old daughter, Maddie, to cancer. Isn't that awful?
That is really sad.
It's awful. And so this guy's fucked up, okay? And he's the one that sent that extortion thing that leads to all the trouble. But yeah, I think you do have to take into account the things he's been through. But he does one thing that you're going to really hate. Really bad.
Really?
It's awful.
Oh, God.
Yeah. You're not going to like it. I'll tell you after, when we get to it. Yeah, you're not going to like it. So the extortion. Why did Bill do it? And did Holly know? Holly did not know. Extorting a client would destroy her lucrative business. But Bill was jealous once he found out she was a call girl. He actually went into her phone to find out what was up with her and why she wasn't being an esthetician, right? And he took the numbers of her regular clients, the whales, and threatened to reveal their affiliation with Holly and even to harm them if they didn't stop using her services. Holly was forced to seek new clients. Otherwise, she never would have had to deal with Eric Mond. So he was the one that caused her to meet him, and then he did the extortion thing. When Bill somehow found out how wealthy Mond was, he decided to try and profit. This was a deadly choice, and Holly knew nothing about it. Meanwhile, Eric decided he didn't want to pay the money, even though it was a pittance for him. This was about control, and Eric couldn't stomach someone controlling him in any way. So he did something quite surprising. You're never going to guess what he did.
I don't know.
He hired Charlie Sheen's former bodyguard to handle the situation.
That's great. Winner Sheen dinner.
Exactly. That was the time when he was guarding him during all the craziness. And there's a picture of the guy and Sheen's wearing a hat that says, I am not bipolar.
Oh my gosh.
He looked awful too. So the bodyguard's name is Gilad. They call him Gil Peled. And he had been fired when Sheen's fiance didn't like him, with good reason, because the guy was insane. And he now faced lean times. So he'd taken a job as Mond's dealership's security person. So he went from working with Charlie Sheen to doing security for a car dealership. Gil claimed to have served in the Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency. But that was a lie.
Yeah, no kidding.
He was Israeli, but he never... Built like a boulder with a neck as wide as his shaved head, he looked like a badass.
Is he one of those no-neck guys?
No, he's a good-looking guy. He's like The Rock kind of a guy.
Yes.
You don't like The Rock?
No.
No, he's not really for me, but he's good-looking. All right. Not for us, but,
I guess somebody, for someone.
I guess. For jail, for them in prison. This is very funny. Sheen's former personal assistant, Steve Hahn, said that when he first met Gil, it was hard for him to take the man seriously. Gil always wore sunglasses, and he acted like his job was to stand around flexing his gigantic muscles. And this is a quote, Gil played the role of a bodyguard protecting his client very seriously. But it's like, who is he protecting him from? A soccer mom that just wants a photo? Once when Sheen visited Columbia, the country, Gil saw to it that Sheen and his entire crew were transported in bulletproof vehicles. And Steve said, I wouldn't say he was a fearmonger, but it was in his best interest if the world was a scary place for someone like Charlie. In other words, he was taking total advantage, and that's exactly what happens here as well. This guy is all about how much money he can get out of somebody, which is just dreadful. Okay, so now Gil had a new mission to figure out who was extorting Eric and put an end to the threats. He said, no problem, I can do it. Because you know what? The man was broke and he would have said no problem to anything. But he'd tell Eric that he was broke or anything. He just was very eager to do it. Okay, we should wait. Something very funny happens also. I'll tell you when we get to it. But okay, Eric gave Gil the blackmailer's phone number and the name mentioned in the message, Layla Love. Gil asked an acquaintance who worked at a private security firm to help him out, and by the next day he identified Layla Love. But the reason why the guy helped him was because Gil lied and said that the girl was missing and they were afraid she was being trafficked and they had to find out her real name. So
wow,
yeah, he
that's
lied.
terrible.
I know. So otherwise the guy wouldn't have done it. And he found out she was Holly Williams of Nashville, who had an on-again, off-again boyfriend named William Lanway. So someone should approach William and Holly and negotiate with one or both of them, Gil told Eric. The encounter wouldn't be violent and it wouldn't be illegal. It would mostly require on-the-ground surveillance, Gil said. He could arrange a few days of that for $50,000. Now, he didn't pay them nearly...
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, Gil kept most of it and he paid them much less. Gil's a piece of work. But, they all are in their own way. Think about this. The man could have, for 25, just given whatever. They might come back for more, but, So to surveil Holly and Bill in Nashville, Gil wanted all stars, the best money can buy, as he later called them, guys he didn't have to second-guess or micromanage. Though some on the team of military vets he assembled would decide that achieving the objective justified extreme tactics. He didn't have to look far to find someone who could run the operation from Austin. Just a few miles from Gil's house lived the perfect candidate, a guy whose wife was friends with his wife, Brian Brockway. He'd deployed all over the world, conducting special operations on behalf of the U.S. Marines and the CIA, so he was a real. His voicemail greeting used to say that he couldn't answer because he was currently taking over the world.
Douche.
Yeah. This could be called the douche story. Brockway boasted an extensive network of military contacts, and his first hire was Adam Carey, a 29-year-old former Marine. He had hollowed-out cheeks and a dirty blonde buzz cut. Adam was eager for action. He was so eager for action that he had done time in prison for impersonating a police officer. He pulled people over and told them he was a cop, and then another cop came over. Like he actually had those police lights that you're not supposed to have, and the guy's like, "You all right?" He thought it was a cop, and he's like, "Oh yeah." And he looks at him like, "Who do you work for?" And they let the people go because they'd done nothing. They weren't drunk or anything. And then he arrested him.
Good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it wasn't for too long. The guy got out, or those people should get punished a little bit more sometimes, Brockway's next hire was a man who'd served as an Army Ranger. Now, his name's being held. This guy knew enough that when he heard bad things were happening, he didn't stay involved. And he was one of the people that helped them figure it out later.
So the one smart guy in this story.
He's smart. And they call him Red in this story. He was recommended to Brockway by a mutual friend in the contract security world. Red had been blown up by improvised bombs a few times and somehow walked away. So if the plan was just to monitor a young woman's apartment, Adam and Red seemed a bit overqualified. So on March 7th, 2020, Adam hopped in his black Ram truck. Of course, he had that. And Red boarded a flight, and they met in Nashville to begin investigating. They didn't have the blackmailer's name yet, just the number. But Adam set up a phone app called Pinger. Have you heard of it?
No.
Well, apparently you can
anonymously.
Yes, text any phone number, which is creepy, right? But it turns out you can get the records from Pinger. So it's not so anonymous. I guess law enforcement can do it, but the people probably can't. Then he reached out to Holly through one of her online escort services, pretending to be a potential client, but both tactics went nowhere. Now, meantime, let's get back to Holly and Bill. In the months that followed, the couple's behavior followed a pattern of violent escalation and reconciliation. Very toxic. Here's the part you're really going to hate. It's disgusting, and really going to make you hate Bill. After one fight, Bill broke into Holly's apartment, snatched her dog, and dropped it next to a busy highway where a car ran over it. That's awful, right?
My God.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to a dog?
I know.
What kind of crazy person are you?
I know, and he had a child that died, and children and pets are so similarly innocent.
Oh, my God.
No, it's awful. She fucking took him back, though. At first, she trashed him to her friends and reset the keypad locks. She couldn't press charges for animal cruelty for that, but she did. Then, as usual, they made up. Now, I don't know how she could forgive him for that, because she adored, of course she adored her dog. I don't know, but it really makes me not feel that bad for him. But yeah, I can't forgive that, So she was trying to get her life back on track, because remember, he made her lose all those clients. So she's building back up right now. And so again, that's why she met Mond. And she texted Bill on February 3rd, I hope you don't go back to your jealous ways and start bitching at me anytime I have to do work stuff. Just remember, I would not be in this position and would not have to put myself out there to gain new clientele if you hadn't run off my consistent long-time clients. It's just all these pieces came into play. Otherwise, this never would have happened. Holly's friends and her fellow tenants who heard the couple arguing thought Bill would end up killing Holly, but they were wrong. So back to the guys, figuring, the observers, figuring they could learn more by observing Holly and attempting to contact her when she was alone, Adam and Red staked out her apartment. And they were not subtle about it. They did move her camera, but you could people saw them. I mean, it was really kind of amateurish for people that are supposed to be experienced, And they knocked on her door like, Holly. And if she was inside, but of course she hit going to answer the door and goes, Holly, it's okay. We just want to talk to you. Who believes that shit? But it's so that they really didn't know what the hell they were doing for people that were supposedly so experienced. Now, Red wrote in a report to Gil that he didn't believe Holly could be part of the blackmail scheme, since it would be professional suicide for Holly to intentionally breach the client's trust. But Bill was a different story. This is another quote. Mr. Lanway has previously demonstrated his controlling nature over Ms. Williams. And because she made a lot of posts on social media about Bill. Like, she was one of those people that puts her whole life out there. Red wasn't positive, but he suggested Bill had initiated the extortion and was acting alone. But then Adam, the other guy, made a drastic proposal. He could eliminate the client's problem, he said, for $50,000 or $60,000. That means kill him. In case you didn't know.
Gathered.
Unsure whether that was a joke, Red brushed it off at first, but then Adam kept casually suggesting things like zip-tying Bill to the steering wheel to get him to talk. He even went to Walmart and bought cable ties and burlap. And rather than continue to stake out the apartment from their rental car, Adam bushwhacked his way to a wooded area beside the complex and observed Holly's building from there. Red started thinking Adam was cavalier and unprofessional, a loose cannon. Soon he wouldn't be the only member of the team to hold this opinion. Because of the lack of progress, Brian added yet another member of the team with extensive military training, Tony Rapinski, a 13-year veteran of the Navy SEAL Team 6. The only thing Tony was concerned with when he was signed on to the trip? Stupidity. He must have been disappointed then to encounter stupidity right off the bat. Hours after landing in Nashville, Tony said in his testimony he was sitting in his car surveilling Holly's apartment when, unannounced, Adam Carey opened Tony's back door, hopped in, and tossed a pistol in Tony's lap. What the F, Tony said, and threw the gun back at him. He thought it was just a surveillance operation. Adam continued his tough guy banter. His temperament was immature, bordering on alarming, Tony thought. He didn't want to be held accountable for anything. And then Tony said to Red, keep that guy away from me. So he obviously didn't he gave up on that too. These killings could have just been avoided. First of all, Eric could have gone to the police if he's being extorted. Like, hello? But that's giving up control. He wanted to control the way. Meanwhile, he wasn't. He was hiring people, but he felt like he was in control, You feel like a big man when you're paying all these people this money, So Eric could have sought help from someone other than the Toyota dealership's freelance security man. Gil could have managed the job directly rather than delegating it to the ex-CIA husband of one of his wife's friends. Brian, in selecting his team, could have given less priority to experience in Afghanistan and more to experience doing shoe leather investigative work in Nashville. So at least this is what I mean about like being like Fargo, like just this chain of events. So the guys on the ground had the offer, and Gil said this to Eric. They would take Bill out. Now, he didn't think that Eric would say yes. And he also didn't mention the fee that Brian had discussed, which was 2 shooters at $60,000 per shooter for a total of $120,000. Remember, it was just Bill, right? But then he went to Eric. He didn't say anything about the money. He just said that there was this offer. And Eric said, how much does something like that cost? $500,000? And Gil said, yeah, $500,000 should cover it. And guess what? He was planning on keeping the rest of the money. So at this point, I mean, who would say, like, what are you doing?
By the way, what was the original blackmail price?
$25,000. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. So they thought Bill was acting alone. Holly's texts, which were later obtained by investigators, seemed to back that up. She was always having problems with Bill, firing. She filed police complaints, this and that. She thought that he flattened her tires, but it turned out those guys had flattened the tires. And he tried to tell her, I didn't do it. And she said, I almost had an accident. Like, she didn't. So meanwhile, she had guys at her door, but she was so consumed with the stuff with Bill that she didn't worry about that as much. She could have gone to the cops, said, these guys were at my door. What's going on? And people had seen them. They could have maybe identified them, but maybe the guys would have been scared off, but no, nothing. All because she's mad about her flat tires. She did file a police report, and she wrote to him, have fun in prison, but probably not. They probably would have made it up. But all that, and somehow, sometime between midnight on March 11th and the morning of March 12th, someone on the team, and no one knows why, decided that Holly was in on the blackmail attempt. So Adam and Brian offered a new deal, $200,000, in which the 2 shooters would split to kill Holly Williams and Bill Lanaway. So then guess how much Gil told Eric he would charge?
How much?
$750,000. Plus, for some reason, tax.
Well, you got to add the tax.
It came out to like 900 something. So it's really bad what happened. The day after the murders, a construction workers found that her white Acura, and 2 bodies were in it, a petite woman with black hair hunched over the rear floorboard and a large man fully introverted into the passenger seat. So they pulled bullet fragments from the Acura, not, the cops did, gathered prints, exterior blood splatter, and that's when, they went back to the apartment, and guess what? Those guys had turned the camera away so there was no video, but the audio still works so you can hear the whole attack.
Wow, that's dumb.
It's down, and it's so upsetting. They were somehow cautious when they were leaving the apartment because she was wearing a black knit cap and he was wearing a blue bowl cap pulled down. I don't know. Maybe you should don't leave your apartment if you think you're in trouble. Once nobody ever called the police. So they played the recording in court. The podcast made the decision not to play it. It's really bad. They get into the vehicle. The vehicle starts up. Then Bill yells, "What the F?" and shots follow. There's loud banging noises accompanying high-pitched screaming. Holly begs, "Please, God, help me, help me." His voice goes silent. He's dead. She gets out of the car and starts running back to the apartment building. They know that because her voice got louder on the recording, but they dragged her back. She got shot. Her screams are still coming from the car as it comes off. Meanwhile, nobody in the apartment building heard this. I don't know why. They heard them fighting. I mean, like, you don't hear someone screaming for her life. But it's so upsetting. But she was alive. Somehow, he was dead when they got, like, but also the fight with Bill was so bad that the door had been, like, pulled off its track or whatever. So they weren't going to use their car. They were smart enough for that, I guess. So they decided to go closer. They just pulled to near. That's why they went to the construction site instead of some other place they picked. And she was still alive. This is really upsetting. I don't know why he didn't just shoot her, but he goes, Adam, who was like a fucking sociopath, he goes, "Oh, don't worry. It's okay. We didn't come after you. We wanted to come after Bill." Why didn't you even say this to her? Then he shoots her right in her forehead.
Wow.
Why don't you torture her? I mean, like, the whole thing's so... And so when the other guy, who's the other guy that was there? Is it Brian? Yes. Brian is caught on tape later, because everybody's like turning, Red met up with them. And when he recorded the conversations, and Brian was saying how he was proud of Adam because some people don't ever want to deal with women, but he took care of it, no problem. Imagine saying you're proud of someone.
No.
Ugh. So it didn't take long for the cops to figure out. They obtained Bill's pinger messages because he had them on his side. And they were able to immediately figure that they figured it out, but not enough to prosecute. You know what I mean? That often happens.
Yeah.
That they get the idea, but they still have to gather the evidence, which is so annoying. But they do. And they called the FBI in because this was over state lines.
Yeah.
Which one thing really pisses me off, so that means they got federal prison, which is so much cushier. They were so lucky to get the federal prison. That kind of pisses me off
Yeah.
It's like Martha Stewart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But whatever. So they identified Adam Carey and they identified Mond. And then they made the connection to Gil. And Eric transferred $150,000 to Gil the day of the murders. And then he paid him off like a full year, a certain amount every month. All right.
Like a payment plan?
No, the reason why was because they were trying not. I don't know why. He should have just given him cash. Like that would be better. There's a total paper trail for this money.
That's why he had to collect taxes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The guy literally wrote it off because he said he did security work for him and he wrote it off. Oh, wait. Gil asked him for a Google review on a security firm.
Wow. That's crazy.
And he gave it to him. I have to find where the Google review is.
Bunch of maniacs.
Yeah. He gave him 5 stars, said wouldn't trust anybody else.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, well, I guess later on he would have changed his mind.
Really? I mean, this guy killed people. Like, wouldn't you want to give him a good review just in case?
Well, he did it because he was really happy with the job.
Nice.
Yeah. But this was before, everybody turns on each other, which is always.
Of course.
So what happened was they found out about Red also, okay, and they wanted to talk to him. They knew from all the records that Red had left before the murders. So they wanted to question him, but they were afraid, what if he won't cooperate and then he tells them, But Red applied for a security job with something with the government. And somehow he was still eligible for that. And they said, if you tell us, you can have your security clearance. Like, what? I don't know what to say about that, but all right. Anyway, so he tells them. So they ask him to then contact Adam and Brian. He said that he had another job offer for them, and he was trying to line it up. Now, if it were me, I would have made up more specifics. I think I would have had fake photos and all that, but he made it really vague, and that was a little suspicious to them. But he did get them to talk a lot, and the one of them, Brian, talked all about the killings. But so that was enough for him. But then they wanted to get more, they were trying to get all the pieces, but they were very happy with that conversation. And so little by little, they gathered evidence. So they got enough evidence so they could arrest him. I don't know where he was. He was getting off a plane with his wife and family. They love to do that. Take people down in front of their families. I don't blame them. So, but this man was not such a tough guy once he got arrested. They were like, yeah, you want to help us out and get Eric? Yeah, I'll do that. Meanwhile, he didn't get a guaranteed deal. The sentence is mandatory life without parole for murder for hire, for a federal crime. But if he pleaded guilty, he was hoping he'd get leniency. Nothing was guaranteed. Okay, and I don't know what that leniency, they don't really talk about that. Maybe because they're trying to keep some of their things they do private. Or maybe I just didn't get the information. That could be. So he called Eric, okay? And Eric's like, oh, hey. And he's like, are you alone? And Eric's like, no, I'm in the car with a friend, but I'll get out. Because he said it was important. So he tells him, got a situation. One of the guys, he's become a problem. He wants more. He wants 25 more. And Eric's like, what do you mean? Like, I thought these guys were cool. He's like, yeah, I don't know. They usually have some code. They say there's no honor among thieves. But I mean, like, seriously, a code? So Eric's like, well, I mean, look, I don't have a problem with the 20, but I don't want it to keep coming up. So then Brian goes, well, we could maybe do another take care of it permanently thing. And he's like, how much would that be? And so Brian's like 100. He goes, and Eric's like, you know what? I would rather do that. Just like that. So cavalier, just kill another person. And so there you go. Were you wondering, did he have remorse?
No.
Oh, by the way, he asked his wife for a divorce a month after the murders anyway. So what the fuck? Why didn't he just ask for a fucking divorce?
All of this could have been avoided.
The whole thing. So he didn't care at all. He just decided to kill somebody else. Like, no, there was nothing. This guy's they're all a bunch of sociopaths. So with that, the cops got him 5 minutes later.
What a dumbass.
Got him right in front of his hunting buddy. And, okay, so this is interesting, okay? There's these guys in the podcast. A lot of people wouldn't talk about Eric because the family is very, like, you know, prominent and wealthy. But there were these certain guys, they sat in the back room of a gas station and they called it the shithole. And they were all guys that were businessmen and stuff, but they gathered there and they didn't mind talking to the reporter that was doing the podcast. And so they were like, well, we don't know. She should have just got a good divorce lawyer, you know. But then when the question came up of who had more culpability, Gil or Eric, who do you think had more culpability? Like, because Gil suggested it to Eric, but Eric, right, he did it and he paid for it, right? Well, these guys all said that Gil was the worst one. What? Well, that's because he's an outsider, and they had their good old boy, you know, which is really terrible to not even be able to see like who was the worst one. They're like, oh, the government blew it. They should have made the deal with Eric. Like, that didn't even work that way because they entrapped him with Gil's help, you know?
Eric is the dumbass who, instead of, first of all, he could have just paid them. It would have been cheaper. He could have called the cops. He could have divorced his wife. Right. There were so many other things he could have done.
Isn't it awful? It's shocking, right?
It's terrible. People are just terrible.
And this really makes me wonder, like, what the hell? Like, it's, again, the overlying thing about, first of all, what good is money? Like, money, you're going to put money over life. It's insane. I mean, I guess I don't know why I'm still so shocked, but like, just like the way he was like, oh, no problem, kill somebody. Like, this poor girl didn't even know. First of all, the guy lied. They knew that she wasn't really involved. There was no reason to kill her. You shouldn't kill anybody. But she didn't do anything.
I know, but this is what happens. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either.
And why doesn't anybody ever just get a divorce?
They did.
I know, but
his family didn't even come to his trial.
Why didn't he do it before all this happened?
He obviously had it in his mind. He did it a month after he filed.
Right. But why are people always okay with killing someone rather than divorcing?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. And it wasn't like he was going to gain, like, when husbands kills wives. I mean, there's some sort of reason, like, you know, life insurance or whatever. But this wasn't that. It wasn't his wife. It was just this woman he had sex with.
Oh, yeah.
You know, not that any of it is good. So he paid $905,000, the fee for the murders plus taxes.
Plus tax.
Oh,
that's the best part.
It really is. And then he hired Gil's company, it was called Spear Tip, to provide overnight security again at the dealership. He went back to that. So, and then when he went hunting, he'd give Gil deer meat. Gil would buy ammunition for Eric. So they became like kind of friends, I guess. And then, I guess this is before he filed for divorce. The wife found the suspicious number in Eric's phone. Gil made a fake results of a polygraph for Eric to show his wife. I mean, stop it. Then he got divorced anyway. So then he asked him for the Google review for Spear Tip. So Eric gave the company 5 stars. This is the review. Spear Tip is very professional and on top of it. Oh,
on top of killing people.
Yeah, but like actually not, because the things are, this man's about to totally betray you when the shit's bad for him, you know? They get the job done in an expedited time. Couldn't imagine using anyone else, with 2 exclamation points. A Google review. So then everybody got arrested. I told you. And then I love that takedown. And those shithead guys, those shithole guys. And now the men are still in trial. They were found guilty. And when Eric just looked like he had forgotten how to breathe when he was found guilty. Like, he really thought his money was going to find his way, because he had a very expensive attorney. He really thought his money would buy his way out of this, but it didn't. Now,
too bad.
It is too bad. However, the men are still in jail, but they've been granted a new trial based on some evidence the jury saw, even though it wasn't properly introduced. So, but it was little things. It's always those technical things, but I can't imagine, it's going to be the same thing again. So hopefully, I mean, I will, hopefully it'll still be.
Yeah.
And then in the aftermath of the arrests, the Mawns, the whole family, sold their car business to a Fortune 300. What's Fortune?
I've never heard of Fortune 300.
Called Group 1 Automotive for an undisclosed amount, but it's possible that they had to. There's a guy from the shithole that used to own the Chevrolet dealership, and he said that when you, you sign a contract of morality, and the minute you do something wrong, you can't keep your dealership. So he said it was a Toyota dealership. They lost the Toyota dealership over this deal. There's a clause in all of our agreements with Chevrolet, and they stick to it. If you get into some kind of jam like this, you're done.
And you should be.
Yes. So that's it. He ruined the whole family legacy. They probably get pissed at him. I don't know. He sits there in a cell. The one thing sad is that it's federal prison. But it's really, is that not like Fargo? It's all crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
It's crazy. So, and if you really listen to the podcast, because there's parts, that I just brushed over, you really get into everybody's mindsets. It's unbelievable.
People are up to some weird shit.
I know. I don't know. I just hope, I always think of that Anne Frank quote that she still believes in the good of mankind, and you know what happened to her then?
I know. My God.
So I don't know what to say. That's what happened to the end of Fargo. Remember that cop? She's pregnant. It's that actress.
Oh, Holly Hunter?
Yes. She's got the crazy killer in the backseat. He had just killed his partner and this and that. She goes, "Oh, you've all this been murder and slaughter. And look, it's such a beautiful day, and I just don't know what to say."
My God.
Oh, my God is right. So, all right. Well, that's it. Let's do our quotes.
Murder.
Yeah, murder for hire. So you always say, are there any real hitmen? Well, there are. Not very good ones. Thank God. Okay. This time I have two. These are both from authors. Albert Camus said in The Myth of Sisyphus, "At the heart of all beauty lies something inhuman."
Oh.
I know. I don't know how to take that, but I thought it was something to think about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
And then H.G. Wells wrote in The Time Machine, "What if cruelty had grown into a common passion? What if in this interval the race had lost its manliness and had developed into something inhuman, unsympathetic, and overwhelmingly powerful?"
Oh, my.
You can see I've been in a dark mood.
Okay. I forgot to write down who said this.
Oh, no.
Because that's the way I
Yes.
am.
Yeah.
Okay. He who kills out of selfishness kills a little. Out of ambition, a lot. From ideologically? No. Why can't I say it?
Ideology?
Ideology.
Okay.
From ideology, monstrously.
Oh, wow.
And wait, I have another one, of course. Can I find it?
Well, I don't know, but I don't know if I agree with the kills a little part. I mean, you kill somebody.
Yeah.
I guess.
Okay. Ready? Okay. Alfred Hitchcock.
Okay.
Someone once told me that every minute a murder occurs. So I don't want to waste your time. I know you want to go back to work.
Oh. Yeah, that man was something, huh?
Great movies.
Yeah, but he was the original, Me Too guy, from what I understand. Well, he's one of them. He was doing.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. I wish my hair would come out more.
What do you mean?
Look.
What are you doing?
Wait till the end.
I don't know what she's doing, guys.
Oh, here we go. Look, I should have done this the whole time. My hair looks so much better.
Yeah,
Right?
I guess I could have done that, but whatever.
All right, guys. Somebody needs to remind me. Where's the stylist? See, I looked awful before because all you saw was my fat face. But now, no, you got to admit it looks better with my hair flowing out.
Let's say. No, I think it looks good either way.
That's very sweet. Okay.
All right.
Did they even hear me? I wasn't even using the mic.
I don't know.
Guys, I don't know if I'm repeating myself, but I like my hair better this way. So this is going to be my new look. But then I probably won't remember it. And by the way, my contraption came out of the thing just now.
Yeah, didn't work out.
See, I bought a mic thing, but it was the wrong size. There's so many details, guys. There's so many details involving a podcast. It's like, I'm so proud though that we've done this, that we've got a video.
Yeah. This is all her, by the way. Once again.
Well, we have to
don't
do
anything.
Because we have to do video, because they say 80% of people find their podcasts through video now, through YouTube.
Not only do I hate hearing myself, but looking at myself is so weird. I don't like it.
I don't know what to say. This is what we're doing.
Well, I'm doing it. Whatever.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being a part of our show. Thank you for your support. Thank you so much. Please consider telling other people about our show. You know, you can tell your friends, you can tell your relatives, you can tell your manicurist, postman, psychologist,
local liquor store
guy. Yeah. And just spread the word, and we really appreciate it. We're growing, you know, and every bit helps. Thank you so much. And also, please, when you listen, follow the show wherever you listen, including YouTube, and give a rating. I don't even I do give ratings actually on Apple.
Okay.
Yeah, I rated the Eric podcast 5, and I gave a review. So anything you guys could do to help out, we would highly appreciate it. But mostly, we're just glad you're here with us. Thanks so much. So we will see you next time. Au revoir.
Good day.